Hello and welcome to One on One, where we'll connect with some of the top marketing and communications executives across the sports industry. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Matt Davis, head of U.S. sports marketing for Anheuser-Busch, where he manages the continued evolution of AB's sports marketing strategy. In his role, he is responsible for identifying strategic partners and their activations, inclusive of league, team, venue, and athlete deals within NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, NASCAR, PGA, UFC, soccer, and collegiate sports. With one of the largest portfolios of partnerships in the industry, he's always looking for ways to reinvent the way AB activates to drive growth and affinity for its North American brands. Matt joined AB in 2014 in a management training program for engineering, but shifted to marketing in 2016, directing the Busch brand sports marketing, and then 2 years later was leading Budweiser's sports marketing efforts. Matt, welcome, and thank you for joining with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
First off, I want to say congratulations on being named to Sports Business Journal's class of 2022 for 40 under 40. Much deserved honor that you received.
Thank you. It really means a lot. It's an incredible honor. I think it's something that's very humbling to receive. A personal recognition. I think it's really a representation of the amazing team I get to work with, the amazing partners I get to work with, the exciting things we get to do together.
Okay, great. You took an untraditional path to get to your current role at AB. How did you get there, and what did it take?
I did. I don't think there's as many, engineers in the sports industry. I started at Anheuser-Busch in marketing innovations for the most part, seeing ways that technology could really improve our marketing efforts. It's kind of one of those one thing led to another. And I found myself in a NASCAR position doing experiential marketing for the Busch brand several years ago. And I found more and more that I was getting drawn to the marketing side of the organization. I had a strong penchant for math and science, and I don't think anybody's mother ever got mad at them for getting an engineering degree. But I think my true passion is really in doing things that really excite fan bases, excite culture, and doing that in an avenue like sports that I love. So after the NASCAR role, I really got bit by the bug of what the sports marketing industry can be and what I can do inside of it. I went from there into a few different roles before landing into the Budweiser sports role, and then kind of March of 2020, right before COVID struck, taking on the larger portfolio here at Anheuser-Busch.
Great. How did COVID affect the deals and how you approach sports marketing?
COVID affected a lot of things. I stepped into the larger portfolio role in March of 2020, and about a week later, COVID became what we all now know it to be. I got a call from one of my senior execs pretty quickly on that night that the NBA shut down, asking what was going on. And I thought I had a better handle on the situation than obviously I did at the time. And we made some immediate steps in talking with partners, trying to understand the landscape. And what quickly became apparent is that there was opportunities to stick to what we knew worked, which was fuel what is most important to the fans at the time. And what we found to be most important right out of the gate was a need from some of our partners at the Red Cross to, collect blood. A lot of schools were shut down, offices were shut down, where they usually collect blood was shut down, and we worked with our partners very quickly on in the Red Cross to open up stadiums to collect blood from our one team kind of program. We did that within kind of the first month, and we used that as a bit of a proof point on how we need to be approaching COVID moving forward. It's really focusing on the fans. What do the fans really need? What do those local communities really need? And how can us as Anheuser-Busch and our sports properties really do that together? Budweiser did a What's Up campaign with Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, talking about the importance of connecting and mental health. And it kept evolving into, ultimately ultra courtside in the NBA, where we used digital boards to bring fans back into the action, bringing really the voice, the excitement, the passion back to the games when they were operating in a bubble in Florida. We had some amazing partnerships with the NBA and Microsoft in making that a reality. And I think coming out of COVID, what we've learned is that there's an amazing opportunity to bring fans closer and closer to the action using technology as a facilitator for that. Fans we now know want and are open to getting on Zooms with players, to interacting with QR codes to enter sweepstakes and try to win unique access and prizes that historically we've done through more traditional manners of maybe giving them out at a bar for people that are watching. And I think for us now it's a collaboration of what worked so well pre-COVID, what worked well during COVID, and using that as a bit of a fuel for what we can do moving forward. And it was an opportunity for fans to change the rituals they have around a sports program. Oftentimes when we look at an idea or what we want to try to achieve in any sport, something that's very hard to overcome is a ritual. It's what's so passionate, what's so amazing, what's so powerful about sports, but also what can be so difficult is getting around a ritual that maybe is ingrained for generations. And COVID kind of shook up some of those rituals, and it was an opportunity to reset some new rituals that I think were very beneficial for fan bases, beneficial for brands, and beneficial for the properties as well.
Great. So much has changed since COVID hit back in March. What does excite you about the future of sports marketing?
There's a lot of things that excite me. I think things are shifting with how fans are interacting with sports in general. And for me, that unlocks a lot of opportunities in how we can talk to them. How they consume content is one of the biggest ways that the entire sports fandom is evolving. It used to be traditionally that you would watch your sports team either in person or on broadcast television. Today, you can still do that. However, there's also streaming platforms. You can interact with them through their favorite players. You can look at your influencers that you follow on social media. There's amazing ways for us now to talk to fans more real time than ever. And what that means is as they get excited about something, we can help fuel that excitement and be part of the conversation. We often consider ourselves the fan of fans. And our goal really is to make them bigger fans in ways that only a brand like Bud Light or Michelob Ultra or Budweiser can. The other piece that really excites me is the increased aperture, I guess, in terms of what a fan would consider part of their passion. And so cultures are really colliding. What used to be just the NBA or the NFL or the MLB, you now bring in fashion, you bring in music, you bring these other aspects of what a fan can care about. And our ability to make these storylines and these ways of connecting with fans bigger and better and provide that kind of value and utility in their lives is really optimized by bringing in these different kind of passion points into one avenue. And then, I think lastly, it's fans care about more things. The MLB, the NBA, the core four in general will always be dominant and commanding of attention. However, fans are caring about a lot of new avenues as well. Pickleball, Formula One, you name it. And I think for us to be able to engage in those new platforms with our brands in different ways because of the different rituals that fans may have there is really exciting for me as we explore an entire new avenue of excitement among fan bases.
Great. Thank you. So AB is always innovating and a leader within sports marketing, and as the official beer of the NFL was recently announced as the most recognized sponsorship in sports. First off, congratulations on that honor. But what have you done to get there, and how have you positioned AB to get there?
Yeah, thank you. It was an amazing recognition. I mean, I think those are the kind of connections that you dream of as a marketer, tying your brand to something that is so important in a fan and consumers' lives. I think I stand on the shoulder of giants, and I think one of the things that is so important when you talk about these partnerships is being consistent. And we've been partners with the NFL for a very long time. And I think the continuation of that partnership, the repetition, really helps instill us together in how a fan views their life and the way they interact with the sport as a whole. And Bud Light has become an intricate part of the fabric between how a fan views the NFL and their passions for their individual teams. And so I think for us, it's how do you remain consistent while still doing things to keep drawing the fan in closer from a passion point standpoint. Overall, like during COVID, we did a Boo the Commish where we were able to work with the NFL and bring fans in for a good cause from charity to boo the commissioners since they weren't able to in person. And we've really been extending that through team cans and the Bud Light Selly Selly program to really continuously invigorate excitement. And we've been doing that for years and something that we're excited to continue.
Great. That's really neat. So kind of pivoting here, I'm sure you had some phenomenal mentors through your career who have helped you get to where you are today. How do you approach mentorship, leadership, and growing talent within AB?
I have had some amazing mentors, both inside the sports industry and inside marketing as a whole. The way I approach mentorship, I think it's being able to have very honest conversations. I think it's about thinking about the individual and their role in the larger ecosystem in ways that you can take their strengths and help them realize their strengths to really find what is best for their enjoyment in life, but also for what they can give back to the industry and the way they can move it forward. I think it's about a lot of trust so you can ask honest questions and get honest answers. And that's where I found the most success. I've had some amazing mentors that have demonstrated a North Star for me in how to act and how to react in the industry, but have also put an expectation and pressures and the right questions on myself to really question why I'm doing things certain ways or why I'm going after certain positions or how I should be approaching, situations. And I try to push that onto the next generation as well. I think this industry can be exceptionally exciting and can also be very intimidating. And I think breaking down the barriers between, what the objectives are, how we can get there, and why it's important really helps see the future of where this industry can become and where I found the most benefit, both from being a mentor and a mentee, and hopefully what I can provide to the next generation.
Great. And along those lines, sports, as you know, can be a highly desired industry, but really tough to break into. You were able to do it after your career in engineering. What is some advice you would give to somebody who wants to do the same and break into the sports industry?
I think there's a few things I would tell them. The first thing I would say is really understand why you want to break into sports industry. I think there's a lot of people who want to break into the sports industry because they love sports, which is an amazing reason, an amazing part of the reason to get into sports. But I think sports in general is very broad. And without understanding what part of the sports industry you're really passionate about, I think you're going to have a hard time breaking into that area or the industry as a whole. And so is it, the digital side of sports marketing? Is it player representation? Is it how a brand can come to life? Is it operating the stadium? I think any avenue you pick is a good one, as long as you are understanding why you're passionate about it. It'll help you really narrow down the scope of what you should focus on. The second thing I would tell anybody who's trying to get into the sports industry is be very curious and very open to new ideas, whether it's from the sports world or outside the sports world. I think the sports industry has done an amazing job of innovating inside of itself, but also taking ideas from outside the sports industry that may apply to the sports industry as a whole. And for me, that's where I've really, I think, gotten a lot of my opportunities in the sports world is looking at something and understanding and asking, why is it like this and why can't it be more like this? And bringing those ideas forward in a way that is digestible and easy to understand, and is not seen as a threat, but more as an amazing opportunity. And I would encourage anybody who's trying to break into the sports world to think about new ways of doing things, the why of the doing things, and bringing those ideas forward in a constructive way. And if you do it the right way in front of the right people enough times, I think you will get recognized and you'll get those opportunities, no question.
Okay, thank you. And it's challenging to get in, but once you do get here, it's not all fun and games as it may be perceived. What has been the most challenging part of your journey so far? There
is a lot of fun and games, but there are a lot of difficulties, no doubt about it. And I think our industry kind of lives that mantra of, work hard, play hard. The most difficult moment for me, it might have been like week one on the job when I took over the portfolio, COVID kind of coming in. And I think you get stuck with this, this feeling of, I don't know what to do, and you freeze a little bit. I think a lot of industries felt that. I think ours obviously is one that felt it very strongly. And, I had a really good advice from some of my bosses at the time, Nick Kelly, Marcel Marcondes, many others in the industry. And I think it was a collective understanding of, just because something difficult is in front of you, your North Star doesn't change, right? What you stand for as a person, what your company stands for hasn't changed. Your plans now are completely out the window. And that's what happened to us. We had some amazing plans for March and April and onward for the summer, and they were all scrapped. None of them made sense anymore. And, the thing that we fell back on was we have an amazing team. We have amazing brands. We know what they stand for. And there was just new roles for them to play. And it went from a sense of, I think nervousness and anxiety into excitement in terms of what we can do to give back to these local communities and starting to put it into action. So I would say that was maybe one of the more daunting moments in my career, but, coming out of it stronger than ever, and something that keeps fueling me as I look forward.
Well, you did an awesome job through it. And from a consumer standpoint, everything was flawless. So congrats
Thanks,
to that. And on that flip side, you do get to do a lot of fun things, part of fun activations, work with really neat properties. What has been your favorite or most fun so far?
It's a really tough question. I think we're all very fortunate, and there's oftentimes I think you get to an event and you're kind of tired. Maybe it's the second event you've been to, and it's those moments that I really recognize the privilege we're in to be going to the things we get to go to. The thing that often sticks out, and it's part of my heart, I was brand manager for Natty Light several years ago, and we threw an event called the Natty Shack outside the gates of Augusta. And it is today probably one of the most fun I've ever had at an event. I think it was so authentic to the brand. Drove a lot of PR, and it's something that I still am chasing that kind of feeling every day, and we're getting pretty close.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate you joining me here to discuss your career, and congratulations again on being named Sports Business Journal's 40 Under 40 class.
Thank you so much for having me, Allie. It's been an incredible honor, and I'm excited to keep working with you and others.
Thank you.
Thank you.